Time for women's singles third round action here on Rod Laver Arena. Would you please welcome from Russia, Maria Sharapova. And would you please welcome from Denmark, Caroline Wozniacki.
So there is a couple of differences here between these young ladies. Both have been former number ones. Wozniacki at the moment, though, was still hovering around that mark. She's sitting at number 3 in the world currently. Sharapova coming back from that suspension that has been very prominent in the tennis news over the last couple of years. Still at number 30, but this has the potential to be a cracker in the third round. I'm John Fitzgerald. Casey Delacqua is with me for this match, and this is an exciting prospect, Casey.
This is a cracking third round match, Fitzy. It's certainly one of those matches that so early in the tournament we look forward to. Both girls cruising through their first couple of rounds, and I think this will be a big test for both of them.
Well, it's certainly a test, and we're about to have the coin toss. There's a lucky young hot shots contender there, young man. He'll be very excited about this prospect. He'll be thinking about this coin toss. I bet he was dreaming about it last night. Just waiting for Caroline.
Hi, Carolina. This is Parker. He'll do the coin toss for you today. After the coin toss, some photos, the three of you over to that side, please. For the match, just to remind you about the time. So after the warm-up, when I say end of warm-up, you have 60 seconds. You need to be back at the baseline ready for play. The shot clocks are up on the 2 big screens and also on the big boards over at the corners. And also 25 seconds between points, okay? In case of a final set tiebreak, it will be a 10-point tiebreak. Any questions before we start? Okay, Parker, who is going to choose? Caroline, Rod Laver or ANZ? Go for it. It's ANZ. Receive? Stay? Okay, pick up your coin and stay with the 2 players for some photos over to that. No, you stay here. Oh, I stay here. You just smile.
Well, he does what he's told. A nice smile, a full mouth there of smile. And look, what an intimidating matchup this is. You know, if you were Caroline Wozniacki, you would not have been hoping that Maria Sharapova was in your section of the draw as the seed. Third round action here. This has the potential to be a final, let's face it. Living in Bradenton these days is Maria Sharapova. She was born in Russia. She's been in the States for a long time now and into her 30s, 31 years of age. She's a tall girl, 188, well over 6 foot tall in the old language, and we all know her history. She's won every major singles title, at least once, 5 in total actually. And she knows how to win here. She's not quite back to her best, I don't think, yet, Casey.
No, she's not. But when you're once a champion, always a champion. And she's cruised through her first 2 rounds, played a previous tournament in Shenzhen a couple of weeks back. So for 2019, when you're talking tennis load, she's played a little bit.
Well, she won her first major at Wimbledon when she was 17 years of age. Sharapova, she's been around a long time, and Wozniacki changed her life really this time last year when she won here. Lives in Monte Carlo these days. We all know she's a proud Dane, not quite as old as Sharapova, 28 in fact, and just a fraction under 6 foot tall, so probably about 5'10" and a half there in the old language. 178 in centimeters, and currently still ranked 3 in the world after climbing the Everest and being number 1 in previous years. So look, this is like a matchup that you would expect to be either in a semi-final or a final, but because of Sharapova's slip in the rankings, they're clashing in the third round.
It's certainly one of those matches that you would think you would be watching a quarterfinal, semi-final. These 2 players, they have played numerous times against each other. However, I think the last time they played was in
3 minutes.
2015, and a lot has happened since 2015 with both of these players. So,
well, their head-to-heads are pretty close, really. Played a bunch of times. They know each other's game. Sharapova leads the series 6-4, but I think when you consider everything here and the fact that Sharapova had an extended period out of the game, you think that'd be a bit of an equaliser, because it is hard to, it's hard for a player to come back after an extended period on the sidelines. And she may be close to her best, but the suspicion for me would be that she's not quite what she was. But maybe she'll get back there. But this is an even, it's tough to pick a winner here, 50-50 really for me.
yeah, it is hard to pick a winner. I think for Caroline Wozniacki coming back as a defending champion, that must be a really nice feeling. They've both got pretty contrasting game styles.
2 minutes.
We know Caroline Wozniacki likes to run a lot, moves well, has a bit of variety, likes to redirect. Sharapova obviously has a big game, aggressive game. One thing she is going to look to do, Sharapova, and she won't hold back on, is being aggressive on the Wozniacki serve.
Well, that's her tendency, isn't it? She wants to intimidate from the start. We see it in most of her matches. The first time she gets a second serve, she opens her shoulders and crushes it and tries to intimidate the server. And that serve of Wozniacki's has to stand up under pressure here. It would be a smart tactic for her to get a lot of first serves into play, even if she has to slow it down a little bit. Look, she's one of the great retrievers in the modern game, Caroline Wozniacki. Not over-endowed with power. She's underpowered compared to Sharapova, but she's more consistent probably. Keeps the ball
1 minute.
And once she gets set back in a point, she'll go all day. She's run marathons in her time.
Ladies and
She's
gentlemen,
fit.
this match will be the best of 3 tiebreak
One of the
sets.
things Wozniacki does do
Maria
well is
Sharapova won the toss, and
she's probably the
elected to
best in the
receive.
world at absorbing pace. And like you said, resetting points. She's done it against the Williams many times, against the biggest hitters in the world. So she's not going to see a ball she's not used to today.
Yes, and by absorbing pace,
30 seconds.
that particular asset suits her here against Sharapova, because, of course, Maria is someone that generates a lot of her own power. She hits the ball hard and flat, tries to go for the lines, and you have to be quick on your feet and be able to take that power, get it back with some interest at times, but keep the ball deep. I mean, I think today it's really important that Wozniacki keeps the ball or keeps a lot of depth on the ball, because if she drops it short, she'll be in trouble against Sharapova. If she keeps it deep, she'll get a fair share of unforced errors.
All the balls to the left side, please. Yeah.
Contrast in styles. Wozniacki will serve first, as Sharapova won the toss and elected to receive. A big moment.
And the roof is also open for this match, Fitzy.
Yeah, and look, I suspect that'd be better for Caroline. It's an outside tournament. I think, you know, with her defensive style of play a lot of the time, I think indoors sometimes allows an attacking player with no elements to really go after the ball, but we'll see. It's an interesting matchup. 6-4 to Sharapova so far in their head-to-heads. There's a lot riding on this one.
Play. Love 15.
Well, I think that point sums up what we're talking about, Casey, doesn't it? I mean,
15.
Sharapova immediately went after the second serve. It's not the biggest second serve, but the talent and ability of Wozniacki to read where that shot's going and defend it is as good as it gets in the women's game, you'd think. Those balls were really deep, and she handled them pretty darn well.
That's absolutely her strength.
30-15.
Sharapova is going to have to keep her unforced error count down today. She just has that tendency, Sharapova, in a lot of her matches to sometimes really struggle with the unforced error count and not be able to find a way back to plan B, to find the court, play with shape.
Well, the shape is important. Her trajectory is very flat, and that's the way she plays. So not a lot of margin for error on her shots, unlike her opponent today.
Now. 40-30. Use.
Okay, well, be careful not to dig a hole for yourself in the first game or two. Caroline missed an opportunity there to finish this game quickly. Typical Sharapova point there.
Advantage, Sharapova.
Well, to me, if Sharapova can hit 10 of these in a row, she's going to win a lot of points. It's whether she can keep the ball in long enough. And it has a bit to do with the depth that Wozniacki keeps. First mini crisis for Wozniacki.
Use.
And not an ace, but as good as.
Yeah, she's certainly improved the serve over the last couple of years. Certainly in the last 12 months. When I say improve, I just mean tried to add a little bit more pace.
Advantage, Wozniacki.
Too often, Sharapova, but she finished this point executed quite well.
Yeah, she hit a pretty good volley here. It wasn't as short as maybe she intended, but it was good enough in the end. Too good. That's where she's dangerous. Loves going down the line, does Sharapova on both wings. is where the depth needs to kick in from Wozniacki. Well, 3 times now on big points. That first serve out wide to the second quarter's really paid dividends for Caroline. Tough first game.
Already 7 minutes for the 8 minutes for the first game here.
Advantage, Sharapova.
I'm trying to think ahead of time, and the stats count at the end of this set, and of course at the end of the match it'll be interesting to see how the winners of Sharapova compare to the time she misses and hits an unforced error, because her winners count is already looking fairly healthy.
Let for service.
Just a bit better depth there on that forehand from Wozniacki.
Yeah, and I think if she gets depth, Casey, it puts Maria a little off balance. She missed a backhand down the line earlier in the game, and then that forehand, that's where she wants to go down the line. But if she's off balance a bit, it makes it a tougher shot. The depth helps Wozniacki there.
Advantage, Wozniacki.
This would be a big hole for Caroline. Well, that's a gutsy hole from the defending champion.
First game.
I think we're in for a battle.
If that's anything to go by, I think you're right.
Impressed with the serving there. I mean, there's no doubt Sharapova will attack her second serve and try to intimidate her serve, but it stood up well. And she really came through with some big first serves when it mattered. And Maria's serve is also a weapon, but she's prone to hit a few double faults too, so that might have a bit of an influence on this match, you'd expect.
Yeah, just since she's come back from that shoulder surgery, it's been prone, the serve, to be a little bit unpredictable, so we'll keep an eye on it. But
still serving as hard?
I think still serving as hard with pace, but the second serve,
Maria
the ball
Sharapova
toss can get all over the place.
She certainly plays to the time, doesn't she? Very nearly over time for this first serve.
Well, funny you mentioned that, because she actually did get a time violation in one of her previous matches. It's a new concept for the players, but they're starting to get used to it. It's been all through the US Open series now, so players are aware of that 25 seconds.
Well, the tallness of the girl really makes a difference, doesn't it? It's a big advantage on the service motion, and Sharapova uses her long limbs and the trajectory that gives her really well. Oh, wonderful.
You can just see the difference when she's balanced, she's set, she loads up. This forehand's dangerous.
Great service game there. A stark difference to Caroline's opening stanza.
Send that one back as well, please.
Love.
There's a fine line when you hit the ball that flat.
Let for service. Love.
Well, just the early trend here on return points won for Sharapova. She's winning half the time when Wozniacki has to hit a second serve. But when Wozniacki gets the first one into play, she's done that 11 times, and Sharapova only has won 3 points. So that's a big difference, and stresses the importance of getting this first one into play.
Said that, didn't we, at the beginning of the match, and
40-15.
Can't help but feel that's going to be a trend.
Yeah, well, she was in that point but lost it again, and that was a first serve. So in the early sort of couple of games here, it's showing to be really important. Too good there, though.
40,
There's such a difference in power, isn't there?
Yeah. And you use the word fine line, and there is such a fine line in Sharapova's game.
Wozniacki.
But serving well at the right time is Caroline Wozniacki, and no breaks of serve yet. 2-1.
Take your seats quickly, please. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, you can almost feel in the air
Time.
how important this is to both of these exceptional players that have both been ranked #1 in the world in their careers at certain stages, and how important this third round clash is for both of them. Continuation of the comeback from Sharapova and the consolidation of the new Grand Slam champion there.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Seats quickly, please.
That's what I like to see from
Love
Caroline.
15.
I like to see that little bit of extra aggression when she gets the ball to hit. You know, this time it was great. She placed the forehand beautifully, went hard at the line.
And it was the appropriate shot too. She was inside the court. She needs to be able to do that as well.
Is she doing it more since she won her Grand Slam last year?
Yeah, I think she is. Yep.
Because certainly that's what Sharapova does. That's her style of play. And Caroline's always been really more of a defensive style of player. And I love it when you see that little bit of extra aggression on the ground stroke, particularly the forehand wing. I think that certainly elevates her level.
And I think that's another example is she might have missed that backhand return, but I think Wozniacki is prepared to do that a lot more. It might not always come off, but she's stepping inside the court more than, say, even 4 or 5 years ago.
Well, pretty good depth there, and I know we've stressed this a few times already, but for me it's so vital for, if Wozniacki's to win this match, she has to keep the ball back there, and you can see what happens. Sharapova has to take more risk, more and more risk, if she wants to try and hit a winner with off a deep ball, and that's what happens. Well, big mistake there. Gee, she went after that second serve. She seemed to hesitate, though, between first and second, didn't she? She was thinking about it. It's Thomas Hogstead there in the bottom right of screen. Played back in my day, Casey.
Oh, did he?
Coaching.
Was that a while ago?
I didn't think you were like that. Break point here.
Use.
open court. She misses it.
Yeah, overplayed it.
Wozniacki.
There is no one better in the world that keeps asking the question of their opponent than Caroline Wozniacki.
Second break point here. Love to see her threaten here if I was her coach. Just threaten this second serve. And not only does she break through, but for the second time on the big point, Sharapova goes to her forehand on the second ball. So you start building that information as the match wears on. She's got to be aware of that. Down the middle over the low part of the net, especially on the second court. So Wozniacki with her nose in front. It's tight, but she's got the initial breakthrough.
Sharapova challenged the call on the right far sideline. The ball was called in.
Do you think she challenged early enough there?
No, I think she played the return and then she challenged.
So do I. And I think that's the question mark about this law of the game, isn't it?
Second serve.
So she had a swing at the ball, knew it was going wide, and then challenged, and the umpire allowed it. It's a line ball decision, though.
Love 15.
Certainly a difference in the noise barometer, isn't there?
Yep. There's certainly one side of the court that just a tad louder, which we would expect.
Ms. Wozniacki is challenging the call on the right center service line.
Well, my feel is that this is good because the ball seemed to me to take off, gain or gather speed once it hits the paint. It's tight. Just gets part of the line, half of the line, and
15.
usually it gathers speed once it does that. Serving well here.
Oh, and another ace.
Wow.
It is the difference in Wozniacki's game because there's no way 3-4 years ago she would have seen her serve 3 aces already in this match.
That can be, it mightn't sound a lot, but at the right time, that free point really counts for a lot. Oh, wonderful return, though. Caroline's hit that serve really well to date so far. That's the first time she's been hurt on a return from there. Good effort from Sharapova.
It's impressive serving.
Well, that's as good as an ace.
Well, that's the thing. It's not always about serving aces, is it? It's the unreturned serves that are just as beneficial. And Wozniacki's very, very impressive on the serve so far.
Yeah.
This is a good lead for the defending champ. Striding to the side of the court with purpose.
Seats quickly, please. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Time.
This is probably as good a start as you would expect from Wozniacki. She's weathered the storm and the power to a degree. She's returned it with some interest. And on top of that, has really shown us that her serving has improved and keeping Sharapova at bay with an early lead 4-1.
Love.
No one can deny she loves down the line. Awesome shot there.
We've seen some good stuff from Sharapova so far, but for me, it's just more, can she continually reproduce this good stuff for the entirety of the match?
Yeah, well, she hit 4 outstanding balls in the one rally there, but that's what it takes against Wozniacki to win a point.
Love. Game, Sharapova. Wozniacki leads 4 games to 2.
So convincing there from Sharapova. She started with a couple of beautiful winners and or unreturnables. And she'll have those periods in a match where she knocks off a few winners back to back. So this first set's still well and truly in the balance.
Love.
There's the fine line.
Yeah.
She goes for that on the first point of the previous game and makes a cold winner. But if she hits a meter longer, then the ball goes out. So it's really a balancing act for Sharapova in her aggression.
That forehand line again.
15.
Yeah, that one has to be deeper. Or certainly have her stretching, I think. Because she always goes for it if the ball's short.
Yeah, and she's balanced and inside the court.
15-30.
She's dangerous, isn't she?
Yeah. She's not getting
30,
those unreturnables or free points in this game. Wozniacki on serve.
Well, she pressed too, so
Sharapova.
there's the break back. Took a risk there, Caroline, and it didn't pay off. Back on serve.
Wozniacki leads 4-3, first set. Time.
Thomas Hogstead, very good pro in his own right back in the day.
Correction, the ball is good.
Okay, instant
Replay point.
instant overall from Eva, and a good one. Both girls sort of knew it was a tight call by the linesperson. I'm not sure it had an effect there, because as good as Wozniacki's shot was on the line, on the outside of the line, how about that for a call? What a magnificent overall. But as good as that was, Sharapova had looped the ball back deep, and I think it was a bit of a neutral position. So back to square one. Well, it had almost everything. And for those of you that didn't notice, Sharapova in this position instantly puts the racket in the left hand there to defend this one. Still had the presence of mind to continue the rally.
It's very, very skillful. You actually see her do it a few times throughout a tournament.
This match is getting tight now, isn't it? This first set, Sharapova is making a move.
30 love.
Just not enough depth on the ball from Wozniacki. A few of those shots.
Thirty, 15. Forty, 15. Game Sharapova.
Give Sharapova some credit here. She was down 4-1, but never showed any sign of backing away in this set. And now it's 4-all, and we've got some tension at the end of the first set. She's making all the play, isn't she now, Maria?
It's on Sharapova's racket now.
Love 15.
She started to find her rhythm, range, a bit more measured aggression in the last couple of games, but Wozniacki just needs to be wary of, as we've spoken about many times, her depth of shot.
All.
You can see Sharapova knows that was one that she should have made. She started to get a bit of momentum. Second serve. But it's the fine line that we keep talking about.
Correction. Ms. Sharapova challenged the call on the right service line. The ball was called in. first service. Ms. Sharapova has 2 challenges remaining.
Well,
15-30.
Sharapova really is turning the tide here. She's keeping that ball in long enough to really press Wozniacki. And this time it draws an error from the defending champ because she is getting pummeled a little bit at the back of the court and needed to try and accelerate a little bit herself. Came up with the error. Oh, she's starting to get on top here, Sharapova, isn't she?
40.
It's all coming together.
Yeah, that second serve, just 118 kilometres, and Sharapova, she's a tall girl. This was basically right in her strike zone. Just a little bit more movement on the serve of Wozniacki. If she's going to hit that one into the body, probably a little bit more effective.
Gee, big part of this first set, isn't it, here? Okay. Well, she's disappointed, Wozniacki. She's lost 4 games in a row here to be down a break now. And Sharapova will serve for this first set.
Sharapova leads 5 games to 4. First set. Time.
Well, she's really turned this set around, Sharapova. This has been impressive. Just overpowered Wozniacki. That's always the threat from Maria. She can do that to an opponent. Well, she's just taken over this match, hasn't she?
Yeah, and I said before about Wozniacki continually asking her opponents the question, can you keep reproducing some good stuff time and time again? And from 4-1, Sharapova's came up with some really good stuff.
And as quick as you like. From 4-1 down, it looks like Sharapova's going to run away with this first set. Three set points here.
(40-15).
Well, is that a little nervous hiccup?
Yeah, well, she let the ball toss on the previous point get too far in front, up that serve in the net, and then a bit passive here on the backhand.
Yeah, I think a little tension. She wins it on the third one. Outstanding comeback from Sharapova there. She wins the opening set.
Take a look at some of the first set statistics.
It was really a roller coaster. Well, it was just going in one direction and then went 100% in the other direction, didn't it? From Sharapova, big comeback there for her. And I think that 74% of serves is pretty outstanding because she goes for it.
Yeah, I thought both players served particularly well, but it was Sharapova that got the 2 breaks there in the end, and we're always going to see more winners with the racket of Sharapova. But
look at the contrast there, 16-14 on the Sharapova side, winners, unforced errors, 5-9. So what that tells you is that Sharapova's the risk taker. She goes for the winners and makes the unforced errors in doing so. And of course, Wozniacki is a much more conservative style of player. Doesn't make the errors, doesn't hit as many winners. Well, Wayne McEwen out there talking to Sharapova, and as we watch the highlights of that first set, I would suggest that the roof may well be closing because there must be rain coming. And I think as we look at this best point of the match here, what an outstanding point. Defense, attack, everything. So I think we might be seeing the roof closing, Casey, and I'm not sure that Maria was too impressed with that thought.
no, well, it was interesting, wasn't it? Thomas Hogstead there, happy with his charge, but Wayne McEwen basically walked over to Maria with his phone, showed her the radar, and said, rain's coming.
I think so.
Yeah. Wozniacki has...
There it goes.
There we go. Geez, it closes fast these days, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, there may be a little bit of fast motion there, but they may keep it open right at... They may keep it open a fraction so that they can open it again if the rain passes. But if... No, it's going all the way, it looks like. There must be a big rain front coming.
Do you think it favours one or the other?
Well, I just think it's for the winning player, Sharapova. She doesn't want the conditions to change. She wants to continue. From Wozniacki's point of view, it's probably better for her if it closes because it's something different than what she just lost the last 5 games in.
Yeah.
So there it goes.
Well, they did turn the lights on as well, and I thought that was a bit odd, but roof closed, lights on.
Yeah, we've now got an indoor match, and once it's closed, it will not reopen again, this roof, in the course of this match.
Second set. Wozniacki to serve. Love.
She just looks to me like she's found a range, and that spells trouble.
Yeah, that's when she's dangerous, when she's got her rhythm, range, balanced, got time on the ball.
You know, it's funny, but my gut feel would be that in an ideal world, Caroline would play Maria outside. Bit of wind.
Yeah, a few elements.
A few elements involved. It probably favours Maria, I think, really, in mundane conditions.
30.
But you never know. Well, that was a big start for Caroline Wozniacki. She needed that badly.
First game, second set.
Had to put a stop to the rot, as they say.
Yeah, well, from 4-1 down there in that 4-1 up there, sorry, in that first set. Wozniacki lost all momentum.
He's Caroline's dad, Peter.
Left for service. Love 15. Wozniacki is heading to the call on the left near sideline. The ball was called in.
Bit of a late challenge too, I thought, but look, I think this is in this one. I thought through the air it might go wide, but I think it dropped here on the line. It catches the outside edge. Perfect shot from Sharapova there.
15-all. Ms. Wozniacki has 2 challenges remaining.
Well, just a small hiccup here on the serve for Maria. That first court is giving her more trouble, isn't it?
Yeah, a couple of double faults on that side.
Goodness, lost her rhythm.
15-14.
You don't see that too often.
No.
Not from a player of this standing.
No. And she would, I imagine, want to find it back very quickly.
Well, this is a bonus for Wozniacki. She needs to take advantage of this, considering the scoreline. Herself there, Maria.
Wozniacki leads 2 games to love, second set.
Well, she did a good job there in that last point to just slow the first serve down and get it in at 138, but
yeah, it was sort of obvious, wasn't it, that she'd probably have to do that after 3 double faults in one game.
Love 15.
That's what depth can do to you sometimes.
15-all.
I know it's hard to place the ball half a metre from the baseline, but when it actually goes there, it really makes it more difficult for the opposition. And Sharapova there getting caught with her footwork, beaten by the depth.
And that's where it's good to see Wozniacki stepping in, isn't it? Good first serve. No time to be passive. Take a step inside the court.
Yeah, I think both those things, an improved serve and a little bit more aggressive play on the first shot, could work wonders for her ongoing results. You haven't done a lot wrong when you've been one in the world, and you're sitting at number 3, though. Well, it seems that, you know, of course, she understands the percentages. Caroline goes across court with the forehand most of the time, but when she makes that one with penetration down the line, that adds a lot of value. Oh, perfect.
Yeah, no, just on that point, like there's no denying Wozniacki's game. She's been a very good player for a very long time. The last few months she's come out and said she struggled with rheumatoid arthritis. It's got to be tough on her body. You think just adding those little parts into her game would certainly help over the next 5, 10 years, however much longer she plays for.
Game Wozniacki.
Well, she's got a good start here in the second, just as she did in the first.
3 games to love. Second set.
She's ahead of break here.
Sharapova.
So a turnaround again in the other direction here for Wozniacki. Look, that was massive in the first set for both of them, from a negative aspect for Caroline and a very positive aspect for Maria. 4-1 turned into 4-6 relatively quickly, and so that's turned this match on its head. But Wozniacki, as she always does as a fighter, back in contention at 3-love. And there's a very famous Australian face right there. Can you swim, Casey? Are you any good?
No, I'm terrible.
Well, that's one of the greatest swimmers that Australia has ever produced and the world has ever produced. Ian Thorpe down at courtside. He's in the millionaire seats there.
I was just going to say, he's got some ripping seats there.
Good to see him at the tennis. Thorpe, still a very popular figure down under.
Love. Love.
Good variety there from Sharapova.
40 love.
Good time to use the drop shot inside the baseline.
Yeah, and Wozniacki probably should have pushed that ball down the line because she opened herself up by going across court.
Game Sharapova.
So quick reply for Sharapova. She's on the board early in the second set.
3-1.
Still down a break though.
It's a much better service game there from Sharapova. It's good she put that last one to the back of her mind.
Love.
Well, tennis is certainly a game of movement, isn't it? And if you're in position, you give yourself a much higher percentage chance of making a shot. If you're out of position, you can spray them like that. Gee, keep the change out of that one, though.
15 all.
Wow. We'll talk about being balanced, and that came back with interest, didn't it? Wow.
Out. Miss Sharapova challenged the call on the right baseline. The ball was called out. (30-15). Miss Sharapova has 2 challenges remaining.
And she continues to challenge the second serve of Wozniacki. Always prepared to go after it, take the risk and try to intimidate on that particular shot.
Wow, there's a big difference. 16 forehand winners from Sharapova and only 1 for the entire match from Wozniacki.
Found a range again. And the power is very evident.
Whoopies.
Oh, too good. Too good. Back on track, Maria.
Wozniacki leads 3-2, second set. First set, Sharapova.
The peaks and valleys of competition.
Yeah, tennis is a funny game sometimes, but I know Wozniacki took a lead there, 3-love, but it was more due to the fact that Sharapova started with a few unforced errors in that first return game and then some double faults. once she finds her rhythm range, it's all on her racket at this stage. She's very focused.
Time.
Love.
Looks like she's got a few more guns at this stage, doesn't it? Both these girls sticking to their game plan. Sharapova, the aggressive one, as always, really the aggressor. Wozniacki, the counterpuncher, but at the moment the aggression is looking like it might get the better of the counterpunching.
Love.
Well, and also I think at the moment, Casey, Caroline Wozniacki's probably starting to think, I've got to do something a little different here. I'm losing it at plan A. I'm starting to lose this. I need to maybe revert to something extra. Tried to come in.
Yeah, probably not to the right position or to the forehand in the strike zone of Sharapova there.
Yeah, it's a dangerous thing to do. You need to get her stretching, don't you, at least? Gee, that's a big backhand to finish that point. Wow. Awesome strike.
New balls, please.
So 3-all new balls here.
And look, I've played Sharapova when Sharapova has been at her best, and it's very hard to get your head around finding an alternative or finding something else to do, because she's a champ, she's a Grand Slam 5-time, so she knows what she's doing. But yeah, you almost feel like Wozniacki needs to throw something different in, whether it's bringing her forward or looping up some balls. Or
hard to change though when you're being overpowered. You just don't have time, do you?
No.
You feel rushed.
And it's intimidating.
Big moment with these new balls here at 3-all.
Love, 15. 15 all.
Well, that's probably stretching the envelope a fraction too far. That was a low percentage attempt there. Huge swipe at that return.
Thirty, 15.
Well, this is a moment that we won't forget. I think it's such a crucial time of this match. And Sharapova swinging at everything here.
Forty, 30.
She's trying to hit her off the court, isn't she?
Yeah. We know that she's not going to change the way she plays, taking another swing at this backhand return. Probably just hesitated a little bit there.
She weathers the storm, does Caroline Wozniacki.
Wozniacki leads 4-3, second set. First set, Sharapova. Time.
Well, no second gear for Sharapova. She's in top gear the way she's swinging at the ball, trying, it seems, to hit Wozniacki off the court here. She's got it in her mind that that's the way she's going to play from now until the end. Go hard or go home.
15 love. all.
Certainly causing the points to be a little shorter, isn't it? By going after them so much here.
She served that one well today.
30-15.
Spoken about how tall she is. She comes from a good height.
But as ever, Wozniacki doesn't go away. That's her style. She makes you play until the bitter end. I guess if you're good enough to hit her off the court, you're going to win. But if you're not,
Lovely when she just steps inside the court, takes her risks. She needs to start doing that at this point in the match.
a bit of aggression back at you.
Yeah. And let's not forget, Wozniacki was down 2 match points in her second round match last year when she went on to win the title. She will not go away.
So saves the break point there with another big serve.
Advantage, Sharapova. Ms. Wozniacki telling to the call on the right near sideline. The ball was called in.
Well, I'm willing to bet that this is in because Eva Azdaraki-Moore called it good.
Yeah, she didn't overrule.
No.
Wozniacki's not confident either.
Put a hand out flat, meaning she saw it good. And she's rarely wrong. What a call.
Game, Sharapova. 4 games all, second set.
So Caroline has disappointment.
Ms. Wozniacki has 1 challenge
Sharapova
remaining.
relief. And Maria levels this up at 4-all.
I think I just need to mention that backhand down the line again because it was literally her first winner for this set.
Caroline.
Yeah. On both wings. Forehand, backhand, it was her first winner.
Love 15.
You know, I guess the dilemma she's faced with is if she doesn't go for the winner, Sharapova will. And then it becomes dependent on Sharapova's racket, doesn't it? Takes the result out of your hands almost. Well, she just didn't hit that drop shot in the middle of the racket. She caught that up near the frame. So it may have been the right choice. It's debatable, but she just doesn't hit this in the middle of the racket, so it goes nowhere. Missed by a mile.
30-15.
It's funny scoring in our sport, isn't it? Because it feels to me like Sharapova's right on top here. But if you look at the scoreboard, Wozniacki's not far away from winning this set.
No, you're right. It feels like there's almost so much in this match, but then there's nothing in this match. Yeah, and I feel the same as you. I mean so much in the sense that
30-all.
Sharapova seems on top.
No doubt. Feels that way. Well, when you take the first set into account as well, and she came back from 4-1, she put a string of games together there to snatch that set, and has now come back from another break in this second. She's a fighter, though, Caroline. She has been her whole career. That's how she won the Australian Open last year, 12 months ago. She's hanging in there again. And leads this second set just, but she's in front.
First set, Sharapova. Time. Love 15.
Probably a simple equation where if Wozniacki strings 2 or 3 points together where she does go for the line more than she normally does, she'll sneak this set.
Then we'll certainly have a match in our hands.
It's all about risk for reward. Gee, that looked perilously close on the second serve there. No challenge from Wozniacki. I wonder if she should have.
Fault. Wide. It's wide. It's wide like this.
Don't argue, Maria.
Or use a challenge.
I think she would have found out that ball was wide. Okay, here we go. So the ebbs and flows
13.
continue here. As much as Maria looks like she's been on top, the door opens for Maria. Excuse me, for Caroline.
Just have to give a shout out to Eva Asderaki. She's constantly continually doing a great job. Oh.
30-all.
Well, she's done that several times in this match where she goes for the second serve wide, come up with a double fault, and out of nowhere really, and against the flow, and the crowd senses it, Caroline Wozniacki has a set point. Perseverance.
Thank you.
A ball game. 1 set all here at Rod Laver Arena. Well, it's hard to follow sometimes, this game of tennis. We talked about the ebbs and flows, the change of momentum, the peaks and valleys, whatever you want to call it, but the set 2 summary will show a pretty even encounter, I think, and there you go, the total points won. There's one the difference. Call that the last one. And I thought Sharapova there stepped it up. She looked like the winner. She was hitting so many winners of her own, but then at the end, she mixed it in with too many unforced errors.
Yeah, and then those few double faults, even early in that set, cost her. But you're right. For most of this set, when you talk about flow of the match, it just felt like Sharapova's range and rhythm and her striking was really going to pay off, but perseverance always does pay off. You mentioned it, Fitzy. She just hung in there, kept asking the question of Maria Sharapova, and like you said, Maria Sharapova threw in just a few too many unforced errors there in the end.
So we start again. Caroline Wozniacki there doing a bit more work, isn't she?
Yeah.
It's just a fraction. It's tough to read a lot into that, but the work rate's just a fraction more. She's having to, but that's always the case with Caroline, I think.
Yeah, you would expect to see that in the majority of matches, in sets. It's just her game style. Work rate is always very high. Checking the tension there, the strings.
Maybe it is the tension. Has to be.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So in other words, waiting to see whether she needs to change her restring or get a fresh one.
She seems like she's happy with that one.
I mean, these players are so finely tuned. They hit so many tennis balls. They can tell when the racket.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes it just doesn't feel right. It becomes a bit looser than you expect. It might be the humidity that changes a little bit. The cold conditions indoors from outdoors just changes the feel a little bit, and they might need to adjust with a new frame, with a new restring.
Yeah, and sometimes we're talking 1 pound or half a pound, but you're right. They're so finely tuned that it makes a difference, affects their feel.
Well, gutsy performance here from Wozniacki. For me, it looked like Sharapova was going to run over the top of her there with the power, and she was finding rhythm on a serve, and especially when she came back with a rush to win the first set, and when she did it again in the second. There's a quote from Rod Laver. That's at the top of the stairs. The time your game is most vulnerable is when you're ahead. So never let up. That's from the great man. That's what his philosophy was, I guess, or part of it when he played. He won a few matches using that.
Did you get to hit with him?
I did.
Yeah.
I did hit with Rod. I'm proud to say I know him, and I've interviewed him a few times and hit a few balls when I lived in Southern California. And he was then, and he still is, just a delight. One of the greatest achievers the sport's ever seen, and he's about as modest as you could get.
So Wozniacki here. She's just going to ask for some old balls. Maria Sharapova's taken her 1 toilet break that you're allowed now.
Do you want me to tell them?
And it's seemingly being a long toilet break. But Wozniacki's going to hit a few serves.
Yeah, okay, well.
Keep the body moving.
Yeah, if it's legal, I guess you can do it. And make sure you don't get cold, because she has to serve first here, Caroline. What she doesn't want is to serve a double or 2 in this first game to put her at a disadvantage. So not a bad tactic. Maria's back. And this set won't be delayed any longer. It'll get underway. A sprint to the finish line for both of these girls.
Time. Final set. Wozniacki to serve.
Well, that's the forehand I want to see from her. And she opens her account in this set with it. And
she only hit 1 winner in there in that second set, and already in the first point she started off with a fabulous winner.
well, if you serve wide to this first court, Casey, it invariably
opens up the court.
It opens up the court, because the players leaning to their right, they're out of court. If they hit it down the line, you can hook your backhand across. But if they go back across court themselves, you've got to be good enough to be able to time that forehand down the line.
Oh, this is better tennis from Wozniacki.
40 love.
Even the left hand wasn't good enough to reach that one.
40-15. Game Wozniacki.
Pretty impressive opening game there for Caroline
First
Wozniacki.
game, final set.
Just as she did in the first set and the second, she gets ahead early. It's only one game, but it's a start for her. And Sharapova, after leading 1-0 is finding herself now coming from behind for the first time in a while.
So the win predictor basically telling us 50-50, 53%, 47% for Maria Sharapova, but I'm saying 50-50 anyway.
Well, I think it is. I think it has been from the start, really. I'd rather be ahead 1 game to love than behind 1 game to love, though. In the third set, Sharapova's turn to step up. Well, anticipation.
Love 15.
That's exactly. Anticipation, reaction, and then being smart enough. Oh, this one here, we just take a look. Yep, pick the right side.
She started moving, didn't she, before Maria hit it?
And just making Maria play volleys. She's not the most comfortable player at net. How much do you think the roof being closed affected that second set?
Well, I thought that Caroline probably would be suited more to an open roof. I thought.
But like you said, maybe it was an element of change from the first set.
Yeah, if you lose the first, I guess something different is not a bad thing. All of those miles, those kilometres in the marathons that she's run, all of the years around the court. Hey, it can pay dividends at the right time. She defends here like a trooper, does Wozniacki.
You can see how far back she is here, but...
That's where a bit of variety would help for Sharapova, you know, a drop shot. Look how far back she was. But it's not her main forte.
Third.
Great serving, setting up these points here.
40-13. Game Sharapova.
So both of these girls renowned for their fighting ability.
It's a very, very intense come on there from Maria Sharapova.
Love.
Well, she's going to live and die by the sword, isn't she, Maria? She's not going to change her game. She's determined. Go after the serve when she can. That's her way.
And you just can't help but feel this match is on the racket of Maria Sharapova.
30-15.
You know what Caroline Wozniacki is going to bring and continue to bring. It's a fabulous level. But if Maria can really string like she did in that first set, some winners together.
Lost a feel on that one. That's a couple of times that hasn't worked for her. It just seems that this match is going to come down to a few points at the right or wrong time. 2-1 Wozniacki here in the third.
Take your seats quickly, please. Thank you. Time.
I think we're getting set for a big finish here, Casey Delac, where it's been entertaining. It's a contrast in styles, but it's a battle royale here, and it means a lot to both of these young ladies. One the defending champion, one a previous winner here. A couple of points here and there will be the difference, it seems. Gee, high quality.
15 love.
I didn't mind this slice backhand as a mix-up from Wozniacki, but this forehand down the line of Maria Sharapova again.
Yeah, because that's
causing trouble.
Yeah, well, it's not easy to hit that one, is it? I mean, the ball's staying a little bit lower, and you've got to get it over the high part of the net there with the spin from the slice working against you. Heck of a shot from Sharapova there.
Love. Love.
It's funny how they both approach a point. You know, Sharapova plays many more low percentage shots. It was evident in that rally. Wozniacki plays the higher percentage shots with more spin across court, more over the low part of the net. Just a different approach, isn't it? We're all locked up in the third.
Game Sharapova. 2 games all, final set. Love. Love.
Well, a quick game won't hurt for Caroline here, will it?
No, she needs a quick game. She served very well in these early stages of this third set.
Quick game it is.
New balls, please.
We're getting towards the business end here.
Wozniacki leads 3 games to 2, final set.
1995 semi-final was famous for all the wrong reasons. A power outage turned Melbourne Park into a disaster zone when the drainage system failed to operate and a giant surge of water washed into the arena. What followed next was some of the rarest footage ever seen in the history of the Australian Open.
Time.
That was the one you wouldn't expect her to miss. The backing up the line was a beauty. Opened the court up, should have won the point from here. I just get the feeling that this is going to be a really good finish, that both players here hitting the ball well and looking to elevate, I think, the standard here. Someone's going to have to win, I think.
Good battle. We're seeing the two contrasting game styles.
She didn't want to hit over that forehand, did she, Caroline? That was tight.
And at this stage of the match, it's who can, like you said, a few points here and there.
(30-15). Sharapova challenged the call on
so
the
just
right
checking to see
the ball was
how many
out.
challenges she had left. Feels like there's plenty, and thinks this is worth having a go at here. Had some right to left on that curve, didn't it? Just too much.
Sharapova has 2 challenges remaining.
That was a quick second serve.
40-30.
That serve standing her in good stead, isn't it? The one out wide there.
Yeah, when you talk about opening up the court, she used that well to open up the court.
Well, this is
Use.
we say it often, don't we? When it's a big moment in a match, but this is crucial. These are the games that turn matches. When you consider the scoreline. Hit at it. It was right on a racket, wasn't it, Wozniacki?
Yeah, gosh.
Sharapova.
She'll probably look back and think that was one that I could have made.
Anticipates well again.
Ladies and gentlemen, please do not disturb the players.
Probably the speed of that topspin volley from Sharapova just caught her a fraction, didn't quite get it right. Tense.
Too short from Wozniacki.
So dare I say it, it looks like it might go down to the wire here.
Love 15.
Oh, two really aggressive returns there from Sharapova to give herself love 30. Just a slight opportunity here.
Out. 15-13.
Well, it's up to Wozniacki to show some aggression herself here, because she knows Sharapova's coming for her in this game. Probably no room to be too passive here for Caroline. She has to go after a few of these.
Yeah. Wow.
15-14.
Well, she's dictating what she's going to win or lose it,
Yeah.
isn't she?
And like you just said, Wozniacki, she cannot afford to spend time worrying or waiting for Sharapova to make unforced errors, because that's going to happen.
Yeah, that serve in the middle of the box, just asking to be hit. 2 break points. Well, you walk the tightrope, don't you? If you swing that hard at everything, some are going to go awry. Gutsy from Wozniacki now. Why are we not surprised?
No, of course we're not. Just some good change of direction here. You don't ever feel like she's really on top of the point, but she was on top of the point in that point there because she had Sharapova off balance. Oh.
This is a massive turnaround.
Advantage, Wozniacki.
You know, if this was 2-all in the first set, you wouldn't be so enthralled with it probably, but at 3-all in the third after 2 hours and 12 minutes to come from 15-40 down to game point is a big turnaround. Can she finish it?
She was there.
She was. She picked the right way, didn't
She
she?
anticipated the right way.
She knows Maria's game better than me. I was thinking that Maria would go the other way there with that forehand, but Wozniacki picked the right way, just couldn't control this last forehand.
Advantage, Sharapova.
Break point again. Oh, wow. Awesome second serve, and Sharapova was up to the challenge.
Sharapova
She has a break.
4-3. Final set. Time.
Well, you talk about pivotal moments in games of sport. That was one of them. But it's not over.
Let second service. 15 love.
I think that ball, that last one, needs to really go back across court. It's just the percentage of making that shot from Wozniacki there down the line that's a low option.
Love. To get on top, isn't she?
Yeah, and Wozniacki's balls have just got shorter and shorter. Sharapova playing like she has all match, her whole career, aggressive.
Very impressive game.
Sharapova leads 5-3.
We talked about it taking something special probably to win this match, and Sharapova's produced it in the last 2 games. She stepped up the tempo when it really mattered. She made an incredible return of serve on the break point and then knocked off a winner, and then follows it up with 4 wonderful points there. She's got the break and she's consolidated.
Love.
Wozniacki, she's going to give herself any chance. She certainly needs to obviously win this game, otherwise the match is over. But this is a big match for Sharapova in regards to beating the players of caliber of Wozniacki. Want to make her serve it out.
Found a sustained level, an increase in her level, hasn't she? This is impressive.
Yeah, this is impressive. And this shot here, her feet, she's really started to fine-tune this one.
You know, Wozniacki has not dropped off in this period of time. In the last 3 games that she's lost, she's played at a high level. Sharapova's just elevated, though. Well,
30-40.
only her 3rd for the match, but that one really hurts. Match point. Oh, what guts from Wozniacki there.
Oh, 19-shot rally. 1 match point saved.
She had the kitchen sink thrown at her there, Caroline.
That was an impressive
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
point to stay in this match. Goodness.
Advantage, Sharapova.
For the 2nd time.
Please.
Well, what a high level that was from both ladies. Two great champions go head to head, and Sharapova prevails. Those last 4 games were something special, I think, Casey.
Oh, yeah, Maria Sharapova lifted her intensity, lifted her tempo, played aggressive. The aggression paid off. We knew it was going to be a good battle out here, and it certainly lived up to expectation. Defending champion goes out, but certainly put in a fine performance as always.
Well, it'll be sad for her. She's lost her crown, had it for 12 months, but a deserved winner today. Will now speak with Brett Phillips.
Well, Maria, we knew that was going to be one hell of a battle. You've had some 3-setters against Caroline. That's got to be a great feeling.
It really is. I thought the level was quite high. I knew I was going to get a really tough match. She is the defending champion of this event, and it's no secret she loves this arena. And I haven't played many matches in the last year, and especially against top players. And these are the types of matches that I train for, and so it's really rewarding to win that last point.
I mean, you can't buy experience. Does that experience come to the fore in situations like this, when you've been there and done it and you've shown that resilience so many times and the ebbs and flows and the momentum shifts in a match?
Well, I'm definitely not walking around thinking I have experience and they're just going to give it to me, because that would be a big mistake. But of course, experience is priceless, but you still have to work for it, because the girl on the other side has just as much as experience.
You're going to play Ash Barty next. Tell us your thoughts. I mean, this public here are growing to love Ash all the time. She's our #1 player in the country and she's got a great game to watch. What are your observations of Ash as you watch her play?
I think her story is phenomenal. She loves playing here. Did extremely well last week in Sydney, but just overall has been so consistent. Now I know she took a little break from the game and then just came back and resurged and is doing incredibly well. And I know that it's going to be a tough crowd, but you know, I go I go out here to perform and play tennis, and that's what we're for, and that's why the nets go up, is to compete. And I love that opportunity, and I hope that all of you come back and watch us.
Well, you've shown all your champion status today. Look forward to seeing you in the 4th round. Maria Sharapova.
Well, I don't think you can argue she's a deserved winner today. You know, she's beaten one of our favourite daughters, really, Caroline Wozniacki, but Maria really deserved that win. She competed hard, as she said, and, you know, she lifted when it really mattered at the end. She played a high level the whole match, but those last 4 games, they were impressive.
Yeah, and it was impressive because, like she said, she hasn't played at this level or against opponents like this very much over the last few years, but the way she stepped it up was impressive, and who wouldn't be looking forward to this next round match? Maria Sharapova versus Ash Barty.
Yeah, well, in the end, you know, before those last 4 games, those total points won at the bottom would have been very close, I think, but she drew away just at the end through no fault of Caroline Wozniacki. She can hold her head high. Her level was awfully good, but I guess on the day she was beaten by the player who played that little bit better when it really mattered. 37 winners there for Sharapova. She pulled no punches at the end and is a deserved winner. So she moves through to the 4th round. She'll play Australia's Ash Barty, and we will look forward to that one.